magnificent morning, awesome afternoon, and excellent evening to those people around the world. This is MindPlore with Carla and Friends, and today we're going to do girl power. We have only ladies here. Tomorrow, Thursday, it'll be a little different. And we are talking about how universality really is the basis of all diversity in life. For instance, keep in mind, we all breathe the same air. I don't know if you're in Vietnam, India, the United States, Canada. The air we breathe is the essence of our lives. And unless we're breathing in and breathing out, we are living. And as long as we're living, that connects all of us in the world with no exceptions. Having said that, Michelle, I am first of all, I am so thrilled to have Dr. Michelle Pedecois, Huong, I can only say Huong in her case, from Vietnam, and Shivali S from India, actually New Delhi. And we're going to discuss this topic of universality. I'm going to ask Michelle to introduce herself, please.
Yes, sure. I'm Dr. Michelle Pedecois. I am a life coach, a speaker, an author, and a filmmaker. And I focus on people's transformation from a life that they either can no longer live or is not working for them to a life that is more sustaining, empowering, and enjoyable. Do you want me to address the question of universality?
Yeah.
Yes. So
that's the point.
Yeah. Okay. So universality it's a perception. We can think of ourselves as each unique, which we are. I think everybody's fingerprint is unique and everybody's iris is unique. And at the same time, there are a lot of things that we have in commonality. As Carla has said, we breathe the same air. So we're air breathers. Of course, the plants, they're breathing carbon dioxide and giving us the air. So we're actually connected to plants. And there are ways in which, of course, we have inside of our guts, our microbiome, which is a whole diversity of other organisms that literally inhabit us. So we are interdependent. I think that is the big point for me about universality, is that we rely on each other. And to the extent that we see ourselves as separate, we can create conflict or distance. And when we learn to cooperate and to connect with each other, we function better. Back to you, Carla.
Okay, let's have Huang do a short introduction too, and talk about the topic.
Yes. Hello, Carla and everyone. Thank you so much for having me in this session. This is Huong from Vietnam. I'm a lecturer in a government university. I have been teaching here for more than 17 years. Yeah, with more than 10,000 students. I'm teaching economics and international business. So I'm so happy to be here. So in terms of this topic today, that's very interesting, because as you have said that, Carla, you have said that we are breathing the same air, and also we are eating dry food, and also shelter we need it. So the basic fundamental things we need it. And we are from different countries and different cultures, so that's why that's kind of diversity. But we have to talk and connect with each other to communicate well. And after debating, arguing, and questioning, right? So we come to the one end, the final end, and we connect with each other. So that's why, that's my idea about this topic today. That's so interesting. Thank you.
Thank you. Shivali, please introduce yourself. And you're the newest member of MindPlore.
Yes, and I'm so humbled by everyone's presence here. And well, about myself, I always address myself as a soul on a journey in this lifetime. As a soul, I have taken on this body, and my name is Shivali. I do a lot of things. Primarily, if you ask me professionally, yes, I'm a trainer, but I'm also a holistic healer. And just now, Dr. Michelle, she said something about, like our fingerprints, the topic that we have taken up today. Fingerprints are unique. Our voice is unique. The snowflakes are unique. In nature, we see the diversity. Yet there's something common, connecting us. People are different, someone could be a soldier, someone could be a warrior, someone could be a statesman, someone could be a criminal, he's acting a part of this body, but there's something which is common, which is running through us. All of us are born, we will live, and we will also pass away. Our soul will leave this body. So this is the universal element which is running through. And the reason for all of so much are born, yes, we will live and we will also pass away.
Wait,
our soul will leave this body. So this is the universal element which is running through. And the reason for so much network, okay. I think some network thing. Yes, so continuing, and we'll move on, right? So, the reason when, I was told that I have to come and speak on this and participate with a lovely group over here, I was thinking that there's so much of chaos. Sometimes we find so much of chaos in the world. The reason is that we are not recognizing this universality in, this diversity, that we are all connected. We are all divinely connected. We are missing out on this point. And each one of us is trying to lord or boss over ourselves. That I am so and so. And this is the reason for the clash. If only we realize that, okay, we are doing so many things, but we are at the end doing something, the same. And here today, when we are on this platform, we've come here together, irrespective of our backgrounds. Why are we? There's something common. There's something universal within us. And as souls, we have connected here today. Doesn't matter from where we have come. So there is universality in diversity. This is what I feel.
Excellent. When we talk about universality, we sometimes forget that in the different cultures around the world, there's a lot of diversity. Like in the Muslim culture, many women cover their heads. They hide their face for different reasons. But when we come back to life and what's really going on, there's a lot of diverse universality. We all want love. We all want peace. We all want certain things for our families. How do you see the diversity fitting in with the universality? One of you can pick on that and begin speaking.
Well, I really wanted to respond to Shivali's point, which is that we're spiritual, having this human adventure, and that when you look at it at that level, when we focus at that level, we are all interconnected. We are all spirit. We are all this divine energy. And we live in this three-dimensional world existence. And all the elements there are interconnected, that everything we do reverberates throughout and affects everything. The reason that we have diversity is that things change. And by having diversity, nature wants to survive. And if there's diversity, we have greater responses, number of responses for survival. And so diversity is essential to the material survival of beings. So you need both. It's kind of like that whole yin yang thing. You have to have both the diversity and the universality. And the adventure for us is to figure out how to work with both of those at the same time, to respect the uniqueness, which of course is why we're here. Even though we're each spirit, we're here for our own purpose and our own reason, which is unique to each one of us. And we each come with our own gifts. And this is all makes it much more interesting. There was and I'm talking a little too long, but there was a book by Ursula Le Guin called The Lathe of Heaven. And one of the exercises that this man, whenever he dreams it would come true, was to solve the problem of the hate and the war. And he made everybody gray. And there was no difference between anybody. And that was boring. So we need diversity. And yes, sometimes it causes conflict because of the way we're raised or whatever. And I believe that part of our journey is to figure out the solution for each one of us, to figure out the solution of diversity and universality. Back to you, Carla.
I think that's really wonderful, the point you brought up, because if you look around, it's not only the human beings in the world, it's also the plants or animals. I've been dealing with a craziness with my cats and dog because I'm not at home. And yet when I settle down and decide not to go and try to get the cat where I want the cat to be, the cat comes to me. He knows that I need him with me. So I think the universality goes past the cultures into the plants and the animals. And I'm wondering how you guys think about that. Shivali, I'm just calling another name, the name that came to me first. So
it's okay. I would also like to connect with what Michelle said just now. It's, why do we fight? Because we are focused, we seem to apparently focus on the differences. And we are looking at, okay, she's Shivali, she's from India. Now, as I said, if we recognize the essential living entity within that body, the humanness which is lying within that human, that just connecting as a, as a living entity, as a soul, I think we make better connections. The problem is we are lost in the externals. This is what I have experienced, and I'm still learning. And like as I had mentioned in one of the earlier talks with Carla, that for example, a person like me who believes in reincarnation, okay, I strongly believe in it, and I have been a witness to it because I've experienced it through my meditations. And then you see why I'm more peaceful with people now. That okay, now I'm Shivali, but I have been Sara. My name has been Sara in one of the births. In other lifetime, I've seen myself as an African, and I'm in a male body. I'm Maasai. In another time, I've seen myself as a Japanese. So what? So it made me think that what is this thing that I'm witnessing? It is just my soul which is on its journey. So what am I fighting about? Today, if I'm a Muslim, I am in a Muslim household. I'll be following the rituals or the traditions of that house. Another day, I could be in a Christian home, and I'll be following that tradition. So these traditions, these cultures, etc., it's the difference that we have made. They don't really exist. For example, I'll give a very small example. This practice of the Islamic followers, they are going to the mosque and they are, offering their namaz or their prayers 5 times. We find this in the ancient temples. In the ancient temple worship, we had similar kind of things, and I think we need to go beyond these physical things and accept. I accept what Michelle is saying or trying to say or trying to convey. So that is where the universal element comes in, that I have to recognize her for what she is, and respect it. The moment you start respecting the other person, there's no place for war, discord, difference. The difference is all in our mind. As MindPlore, Minds, the interesting title that you have given. It's all in our mind. It's like a brain is the hardware and a mind is the software. We just need to change the software. Just replace it, with a better thinking. Thank you.
Right. And that's the whole point. We are learning to accept each other as we are. The four of us are very, very different. We're getting to know each other. Huong is from Vietnam. I know very little about Vietnam. I know some things that she has told me, but our cultures are very different. The same with Shivali. And only when we become aware of aware of that universality, do we begin to accept people as they are. I read a quote by Sri Ravi Shankar from the Art of Living Foundation today, and I'll be paraphrasing it, but basically treat people as they belong to you. Because if you know that and you realize that every part of this creation belongs to us, then we begin to accept people as they are. And that's one of the first points that we learn when we teach the Art of Living program. Huong, it looks to me like you have something to say. And everyone, if you feel like it, please share this out to your friends, family, and friends to be, so more people know that we are here. And the YouTube link is now in the chat in Zoom. Thank you, Huong. And make sure that you have muted your Facebook page before you do anything, so we do not echo through the universe. Huong, what do you think?
Yes, thank you. Thank you for very beautiful sharings. I agree with that and that idea. Actually, I am not only thinking about accepting people and respecting everybody, also I accept myself with all of my imperfections. I will recognize, learn from this, and keep improving ahead. I will do my best, so I will feel satisfied and fulfilled whatever I do, right? So the thing here, we are from different countries, but we are human beings, right? And also we are from different cultures, religions as well. But I do believe that we all respect honesty, righteousness, and we love peace. We need love, right? And also we respect people. So that's why I'm saying that people, we are doing in a different way, but we have a lot of things universality. Yeah, I can say so.
Yeah, it's very interesting because we all think, oh, those people, because of some difference of opinion, are not good. Well, maybe the government have some issues, but the individual people don't. I remember before I met Rehan, I had this feeling that all Muslims were terrorists. And Rehan contacted me. We had this wonderful conversation. And I remember calling a friend and saying to this friend, can you check this guy out? And the reason I asked him to check it out, because I already liked him and I didn't want to be biased. I wanted someone else's opinion. And he checked him out and he said, he seems harmless, Carla. Keep talking to him. And I thought, look at what I had been taught to believe and to think, and I lost all understanding that we were very much alike. And this goes throughout the world. As I said earlier, my cat and I are very well connected, although at times I could just want to strangle him. I'm not going to. But, because of the diversity and not an inability to say, hey, I need you to go eat now and please get in the kitty playpen. If I think that too hard, he stays further away from me. In fact, he just went under the bed. But that's part of the universality. Michelle, you look like you have something to say.
I do. And first of all, I wanted to respond to Shivali's comments, and I'm sorry, Huong, I was busy posting while you were speaking, so I apologize on that. But I'm going to speak to Shivali, and you had said how this idea of the conflict and the differences is all in our heads. And I agree with that, but I also want to say it's in the cells too, that there is a way in which we are constructed physiologically, biologically, to identify differences. As part of our survival mechanism, we have to decide who's safe from who's not safe so that we can survive. And this is all, lower brainstem stuff about who's enemy and who is safe. And even in mating, we have to figure out who's desirable and who's not desirable. So that ability to decipher and to determine what is good and what is not good is part of our makeup. And that's where sometimes we run into conflict, because we have these ideas that somebody's not safe, and that's where it's in the mind. But the body itself has this capacity for discerning, for seeing the differences, because it needs to. You see it everywhere in nature, that certain animals will not mate with each other because they're not of the same species. So they have a way of determining, oh, this one is right, this one is not right for me, that's going to work. So I just wanted to make that point, that a lot of the stuff that we struggle with is also in our cells. And it actually takes work to learn to see the commonality. And of course, a connection to spirit, because the spirit does see the commonality.
Well, the spirit doesn't see us as different. We are all the same. And the problem is we're so worried about things being a certain way that we forget to accept people as they are. Just as I told the story of Rehan and me meeting, I had no idea that I would be talking to him and working with him into the future. But it did. I'm not leaving. And that's the same with everything we do. We judge people, and sometimes because of that judgment, we really miss out on knowing a really good, wonderful person. And that could also mean a convict could be our friend, although we don't know that right now because we have judged him or her by something that he or she did in the past. Shivali, you look like you want to say something.
I want to ask a question here because Michelle has said something very interesting that, about this, that it's genetically, we are carrying it, from our previous generations also, whatever. But I have a question here that, 2020, when we went beyond mere existence and mere thriving, when the collective consciousness came together, we could reach out to each other, irrespective of our differences. We actually, when something common happened to the entire world, how we came forward to help each other. We didn't know people, and yet we were thinking about them. We were holding them in our prayers. So do you think there is a means of unlearning our old things? Or is it that we only need a challenge to make us understand this? Like 2020, I think, was a game changer. It also helped us to understand that instead of just surviving, we need to thrive together. You know, if we are divinely connected, we need to thrive. So if you could say something about this.
Well, of course, you're absolutely right. That's why we're here. It's like we are in partnership with these bodies. Our spirit is in, it's like, I always see it as riding a wild horse, and that you have to realize that it has its own agenda. But we are capable of so much more. And that's what we bring, we infuse to these bodies. Otherwise, they're just animals. You know, they just are moving by instinct, but we can transcend that. And that's where connecting to spirit and connecting to the higher, well, I don't know, they call it the Akashic records, or this place where all thought exists, where we are all connected. Very similar to the mushrooms or the mycelium. There's a whole layer that's underneath Earth that is connected, and not only connects everything on the planet, it connects all the plants too. So it's like there's this diversity, and then there's this connection. And part of it is learning to see and hear the connection, to feel it, you know, in our bodies.
I like what you said about plants. I remember, and I don't know why this popped into my mind as you were talking. When I was growing up in the Philadelphia area, my parents had a weeping willow in our backyard. And it was, to me, and it still is, to me, it was the most beautiful, wonderful plant. We could go and play hide and seek, and we'd be in the weeping willow. You could, even the dogs would play, and sometimes the dogs would go there and get lost in the weeping willow. But I felt very connected to that plant. And yet I didn't realize why. I just always loved the weeping willow. Again, the cats and dog. They say cats, your pets choose you. I'll never forget the little boy I have now, Krishna. When I walked into the kitty room in the shelter, he came up to me right away, and I said hi, and I thought, he's black and white. I don't want another black and white cat. But he kept following me around, and his friend, he had a bonded friend, was a little calico kitten girl. Of course, I ended up taking them both home. I wanted a bonded pair. But he kept following me around. They didn't have to go find him to get him to come to me. He found me. How can this happen if we are not all connected? One of you can take over. I just spoke a long time. Shivali,
Wow.
you haven't spoken for a while.
No, I've spoken. I love this because I love animals. I love to be in nature, and you know, like this connection that you are saying about vibrations. You know, when the cat comes towards you or the plant comes, you know, like I talk with plants. I talk with plants, and you know, like this question of making the right connection that we are talking about. Even plants understand the language of love. So if plants understand the language of love, you know, Dr. Emoto's experiment with water, you know, like water has memory, you know, all of us are aware of it. So what is it? It's all about the vibrations. Water is understanding our language. Plants are understanding our language. The language of love is a universal one, right? So why can't we connect with that language? Why are we always focused on the differences? Yes, as Michelle rightly pointed out, it is this difference which makes us unique. Differences are making us unique individuals, and we are actually contributing. Otherwise, everything would become so boring. Everything would become so boring. Imagine with like-minded people and everything. And yet recognizing the difference and yet recognizing the unity in diversity. That is the whole point. And for that, I think we will have to go beyond a mere material existence. This material existence is very important. Of course, it's very important. Like I have to run my house, I need money, right? I cannot say, oh, I don't love money. Of course, I love money. I love abundance. I love abundance. I love prosperity. But I have to go beyond this. I have to find the spirit within the material. Then only the complete connection will be made. I am just reminded of one line. I think I read it somewhere. The Archbishop of Canterbury said, yes, you want a world, but you want a world without God. You want a godless world. So if you want a godless world, where can you have peace? There was something that he was trying to say, that each one of us probably, we want to be the boss. We want to own lands. We want to own things, but actually the supreme divine is the owner. If we just realize that. And here we are all together. We are divine sparks. And we are here with a purpose to fulfill that mission of the divine through us, through these bodies.
And the point is, we all own everything in the world. There is no lack of abundance.
Absolutely.
The reason that we think there is a lack is because we think it's there. But as we begin to open up our world and open up our mind, that lack turns into abundance. If you think you don't have something, you're right, you don't. But if you think you own everything, then you have everything. I remember going into a store a few weeks ago, a little embarrassing story, but I'm going to quickly tell it. I thought I had the money for what I wanted to get. And when I went to check out, I found out I didn't. And someone came behind me and said, oh, don't worry, I will buy everything you want. Never met that person before, never saw him again. But in that moment, things got taken care of. Last night, I really needed to figure out how I was going to get the kitty litter bag into its container. 2 minutes after I thought that, a woman came to my room from housekeeping and I needed something from her. And I said, oh, can you help me with the litter? She said, sure. She came in, dumped it in the container and left. It got done effortlessly. Only because I thought there was going to be some help nearby. And it came. Huong, what would you like to say besides nodding your head?
Oh, that's amazing stories, So we can see that people, we all have kindness, right? And we want to do good thing to our life, right? Because one day we will be in that situation. So that's why that amazing things. And you have said that we have different perspective in life because it depends on our mindset with different, environmental factors, background, culture, and everything keep changing and impact on the mindsets, the thoughts. So, but when we are building up good communication, right, we will have a common agreement and common idea, common thoughts, and that's kind of universality, right?
And that universality runs through everyone on this planet, whether it's the richest person on earth, like Bill Gates or Steve Jobs. He's no longer here, but you know what I mean. Or if it's a common criminal, we are connected and they are a part of our lives. Michelle, you look like you want to say something.
I have so many thoughts that it's hard to know where to begin. I loved your story about the cats. I have a similar story that one time I was looking for a cat, and I was actually looking for a kitten, went to a shelter, and this sort of teenage cat, half grown, almost full grown, he wouldn't let me look anywhere else. He just locked eyes with me. And I ended up taking him, and I'm like, what was I thinking? I wanted a kitten. But I had made it clear that I had gotten this cat because I wanted to learn how to nurture. And this cat was a tomcat. It was male. And everything he did was for the purpose of teaching me how to be nurturing, because I felt like I didn't get a lot of nurturing as a child. And this cat, we got him a female cat. He would check her out when she had her kittens. He would take care of the kittens after she got tired of them. He would wait at the door when I would come home from a trip and wait until I acknowledged him. Everything he did was directed towards teaching me how to nurture. I was like, wow, what an amazing story, that we can communicate and have an agreement with another, an animal or a being from another species. It's just amazing.
That's so interesting, and we're getting a little off topic, but it's very important.
Well, we aren't, because it is about diversity, and it's not just about diversity between human beings. It's like the whole universe, the whole world is made up of diversity. And when we put ourselves ahead of the rest of diversity, and we destroy that diversity by killing off species, we're actually harming ourselves, because all of our survival depends upon that diversity of differences, so that we can be flexible and agile in dealing with changes in the condition of the planet or the weather or whatever happens. It's diversity that makes it possible for us all to survive.
I'm just getting excited. When one of my cats was dying, I was asked by the vet to talk to an animal communicator before he goes. And I thought, this is a very interesting thing. I'm going to find one. And I found one who was pretty far. If I was to drive to her, it would have been probably 45 minutes to an hour. I haven't spoken to her in years because it's hard to get to her now. She's not doing communication like she did. But she gave me some tips of what to do for this animal as he was leaving his body. And I did everything, including getting him a dozen red roses. The vet picked up the roses on her way to my house in a snowstorm. And the vet was normally about 45 minutes away. So, it took a while for her to get to me. But the point is, as this all was going on, I felt such a connection to the cat. Now, this cat comes back and visits. And I know he's there because I'll feel something that I know that he normally did with me. That is the universality in the diversity. He didn't speak English to me, but he told me his name when I first adopted him. I asked him if he wanted to be with my first cat, Sattva Devi. Ganesh said, yeah, that's okay. And when I brought him home, I was told, keep him separate. Guess what? The first thing that Sattva Devi did, she went and slept right outside of his crate. The connection was already made. Interesting. And at that time, when I adopted him, I knew nothing about animal communication, but I was just feeling things. And this can happen with anyone. Huong, do you want to say something? I feel like I have to pull you out today, so.
She's giving us her beautiful smiles, you know, that radiant smile.
Yeah.
Say something, yes. Yes, we would like to hear. She is from the land of Vietnam, you know, Cambodia. You know, it has got a mystical element about it. There's a lot of mysticism which lies hidden over there. So please talk about it.
Yes.
I really want to share that. Yeah, we all have the same feelings, the same emotions. I mean, like fear, nervousness, and we have talked about this many times, right? Because we are human beings, we can feel, we can get emotion whenever talking with stranger or putting ourselves in a new situation. So we all have the same feelings, but with different people, I mean, different factors, especially for environmental factors with impact. So make we keep changing, keep adapting, right? Keep getting resilient, how to survive, right? How to get better. So after after all the efforts, the thing, we can have the same feeling and we sympathize with each other and find out the better solution. So you can see that's the kindness people when give it to each other. That's the same thing we want to give. When give something, give someone something, we also can receive something. So that's why. So I can say that I'm happy when giving and spreading my knowledge and communicating with my students and people around me, because I have gained a lot of things from them, from other people as well. Yeah, so I love this. That's kind of like a universality. Yeah, today it's the same moment, the same feeling. When giving, that means I'm receiving. Yeah. Thank you.
You know, Huang, I always remember when you first came to me and I had to fight to get you to say hello. You were like, I gotta speak. And look at you now. Look how far you've come. But it's not only a question of how far you come. You have taught me a lot, although I couldn't put it into words. For me to decide to have you on this show was a big decision. I thought, well, Huang will come. Can she do it? You know, because of the English. You're doing so amazingly well. I am so proud of you. And yet, here we see that universality in diversity. You're from Vietnam, a pretty different culture than the United States. And yet, look how you're fitting in the diversity of this conversation. Give yourself a pat on the back. You've come so far. Shivali, did you want to say something?
Yes, we clap for her. I was just thinking, you know, since Dr. Michelle is also here, like, you know, we all know this. And here right now, we are actually trying to communicate with each other, right? And thanks to technology today, that we are so close to each other right now, okay? We can make that heart connect. And we are actually here with unconditional love. We are here with unconditional love for each other. And we know this, you know. How can we take this on a bigger platform? I personally believe in God, okay? There are many who don't, as I have mentioned earlier also. There are many who are atheists, but I respect that because they are believing in some energy, some divine energy. I strongly believe that if we believe in a God, you know, or we do not believe in a God, but we believe in the divine energy, and we know that we each one have been created by him, then why don't whatever we do, we put it in the service of the divine spirit? Like today, whatever I am doing, if I think this is a service to humanity, because in that I'm doing service to the Supreme. This is how I think things can improve. You have to bring God or the divine spirit, whatever you want to call that God, at the center of things. And then whatever I do, say Dr. Michelle does, she does, you do, if we all start dovetailing it, that whatever I'm doing it as a divine spirit myself, as a spark, I'm a co-creator, then I think, that all this discord, so-called discord, will disappear gradually. Otherwise, we'll keep on witnessing the same things over and over again. I mean, today we are facing something in one corner of the globe. Another time we are facing it another corner of the globe, and that time we feel helpless. We are not able to reach out also. So how can we spread this on a larger platform? Because see, I believe in God, so I speak from that perspective always. But there could be people who don't believe. Then how will we kind of bring them on that same platform? How can we do that?
Can I answer my thoughts on that? And I love the way in which you express that and how important it is for us to connect to our divinity, to who we really are. My belief is that that's enough, that as each one of us has our impact on other people by staying in that place of heart and love and connection to divine, it reverberates out. It's not like, arithmetic, that you have to have one and one and one and one and one. It's geometric, that it infuses the world. As more of us connect with that heart space, with that connection to divine, it reverberates. It has a huge impact on everybody else because we are all vibration. And so when we're vibrating at that higher level, we are actually literally helping other people to vibrate at that higher level. That we are, because there is this energy and force towards that higher vibration, because that's who we all really are. So when you put that energy out, other people respond to it. Even when they don't intend to, they respond. And so it's like, that's my mission, is to help people to step into who they really, truly, and authentically are, to live their purpose, their mission, why they're here. And as more people do that, the more impact it has throughout this whole world. And that's enough. It really is enough. You don't have to go man the barricades unless that resonates with you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, Alison Robertson, I love what you said, and it just brought up a point to me. Alison Robertson, who was my first co-host and dear friend, and going through quite a bit right now and cannot be on the show, wrote a book called Enough. And no, it's Enoughness, excuse me, Alison. I don't know how I got that transmitted so quickly, but thank you, Alison. And it's all about accepting ourselves as we are. Many times we've been told by a parent, I'm looking forward to the day you become the doctor. And they're talking to this little baby. And this baby grows up and this baby wants to be an artist. Mm-hmm. And does what mom and dad wants because they want to please mom and dad, meanwhile being so darn miserable. Mm-hmm. I think it's time, instead of saying, hey, I want you to live for another 10 years. And the person is dying and really wants to leave the body. We accept that the person wants to leave the body. Or the child doesn't want to become a doctor, will never want to become a doctor. Okay, be the artist you want to be. The more we accept people as they are, the more the people are going to be more peaceful and happy in their lives, without worrying about mom and dad saying, oh, you need to be a doctor, study hard in math. I don't know why this is coming to me, but it is right away. There's a Disney show, and I love that's my mentality, Disney. And in it, there's a show, I think the name is Bunked, but there's a child who comes to this camp, and her mom is a world famous scientist. And she wants her daughter to go to Harvard and be following her steps. And she's only 10 years old. She needs to have fun. And her mother has no idea what it is to have fun. And they teach her that at the camp. And she said, near the end, she said, I want to jump rope. And her daughter jumps up in glee, I want to teach you how to jump rope. And the whole camp goes together and teaches her how to jump rope. Can you imagine growing up and never playing and never having fun? Because mom and dad have decided this is who you need to be and what you need to do. Huong, you look like you may need to say something, but if you don't, we'll go to someone else.
Yes, actually here it's raining. It's pouring rain. I don't know, but I think when it's raining everywhere, the same like water from the sky drop, right? So it's interesting sharing, Carla. It's kind of a circle. I mean, like a death or birth, that's a circle, right? It's a thing that observe like a universality. Today we are discussing, people, we are the same human body. You can feel hurtful, painful, aching, or itchy or something like that. But with different, different ways, we are behaving with different things. But after understanding and recognizing the nature, the law of nature, so we can accept it, right? The more we accept, the better we will be, and we can improve, and we can make change to follow, to adapt with our environment around us, because our life keep changing every day with a lot of things. I mean, like revolution and technologies. They are changing every day, right? So people here, we have to adapt to survive. So with all of many different various things here, we have to recognize the best ways, the good ways, the good solution, to move ahead and to overcome all obstacles and difficulties in life. So step by step, we will have the same thing and common ideas, common thoughts, and we can understand each other better by building up good communication. So that's why we are here, to talk with each other more, right? To share, to exchange our thoughts, our opinions, so we can get connected better. And that's the way we go, right? So I'm so happy and thrilled today to be here with you to talk about this topic, universality. Yep, thank you.
You're doing a great job. Shivali, what would you like to say? We are also coming to the end of the show, so.
Yes, see, I have only one thing to say: unconditional love, accepting the differences, accepting the other person as he or she is, no judgment. Recognition of this, it will be the beginning, actually. This is what I think. So all I have to say. What does Dr. Michelle want to say, or you want to say? I would love to hear from both of you.
Well, Shivali, I was just thinking about what a beautiful smile you have.
Thank you so much.
And what a beautiful woman you are. And I was also thinking, and also Huong, you also are a beautiful woman. And what I was thinking about is that in some ways, we have more in commonality than I have with people living in certain parts of the United States. And then what would be a more courageous show is to bring on some of these people that have very, very different ideas. And how do we connect with those people? And sometimes you can't. And sometimes the only thing I do when I'm with people who are so different is send them love, which is what Shivali, you said, is to go to love. Or, when I hear that this terrible stuff is happening in the Ukraine, and, I don't know what really is. I know that I'm being fed a lot of information, is to send love and healing. And that's all I can really do, is send love and healing. And it is the most powerful thing that I can provide.
Absolutely, I agree with this.
Michelle, you brought up a very important point. And I remember when I first started working with Rehan, in the first few months, he kept on asking me to talk to different people, and I would. And then he asked me very early in the game to talk to a Trump supporter. And I said, Rehan, do you really want me to do this? And he said, yes, I do, very, very much. And I said, why? He said, if we cannot talk to those who are different from us, and we want everyone to be exactly the same with the same thoughts, what are we learning in the world? You don't need to actually tell him your thoughts, Carla. Just listen to what he has to say. And it was 3 years ago, and Rehan was in DC, and he went to the prayer breakfast, the president's prayer breakfast. The reason I'm telling you this story, and I didn't know this had happened until after the fact. I was there, but I was sitting only in the lobby. I didn't get a ticket. I was sitting in the lobby and talking to the people who came to the prayer breakfast. And this gentleman, I actually interviewed online, and Rehan knew that I did it because I would tag him and let him know that I was talking to someone. And this man went down trying to get into the breakfast, and he couldn't because he didn't have a ticket. And Rehan just went over to talk to him to get an idea of what really was happening. And one of the watch people or supervisors came over and said, please, we're trying to get him to move. And he said, I'm just talking to him. I'm just listening to him. And I hope it's okay that I'm telling this online. And because he was listening to the guy, it caused a little bit of a ruckus. Now, Rehan didn't agree with the man, what he was saying, from what I understood, because we never really talked about it. I found out what happened from his son. But the closed-mindedness of people being there and acting, saying, oh, you can't go in because you think this way, or you can go in because you think like we do, really took away from the value of what this prayer breakfast was all about. And it fits into what we're talking about now. It was a very interesting experience for me. I learned a lot because I learned that I myself sometimes judge people because of what they look like or how they're dressed or whatever. And I began to open up my mind even more because I began to make friends with a Muslim man who I always thought must be a terrorist because he's Muslim. It's exactly the opposite. And I hope what I said made some sense. Do you want to add anything, ladies?
I have one thing to add, and I try not to make it too long. But one time I was teaching a class at a college on grief. And I was trying to present it from that more biological point of view, that the grief that happens, that there's a physiological response. But the members were diverse, and the students were diverse, and they wanted me to speak about the diversity. And my mistake was to think that all I needed to do was to provide the universality, when they needed to hear and be acknowledged for their diversity. And so it's always a balance between the universality and the diversity. And for me, that was the lesson. Was I thought I was, had found a way that we could all relate to each other. But sometimes you need to relate in your uniqueness. And I had failed that.
No, you didn't fail that. You learned from it.
I learned from it, yes.
Remember, every step of failure is a success to success.
Right.
And I fail a lot every day.
I guess we call it mistake, which means a mistake, and you need to take it again.
And also, Michelle, when you say I'm failing, you're not failing, you're learning. The first time you stood up to walk, and you probably don't remember this, you fell almost right away. Did that keep you from standing up and walking? No. It kept you moving and made you decide, I'm going to try again. I don't care what mommy and daddy say if I fall. I'm going to fall.
When we have that attitude, not only towards ourselves, but towards everybody else, then it's always a possibility that people can get to that unity, that connection to each other. That maybe in this moment, they may be making a mistake, but that eventually we will all reach each other.
Absolutely. And that's the point that I was trying to make. And whenever I hear someone talk about failure, I always bring up this other point, that failure is the gateway to success. And Huong hears me say that every day, maybe 50 million times I say it. Huong, do you want to add something?
Yes, of course. That's the thing, the lesson I have learned from you and everyone has as well. Yeah, making mistakes and failures, that's the nature, the part of life. So, yeah, so we can grow from that. We can learn and we can improve ourselves. And the other thing I'm interested in the words Shivali have said. So I record my friends also shares the word unconditional. So I can see, yeah, inside unconditional, we have a conditioner, right? So I can say, yeah, so the topic today, very interesting. I love it. Thank you.
You are more than welcome, Shivali.
Nothing to say because I'm hearing such wonderful things today. I've lots to learn. I always want to be a learner, because we are learning so much from each other. Like today, when I was told that I have to speak on this topic, I said, now what am I supposed to speak? I said, okay, I'll go with the flow. And when I was hearing Dr. Michelle, I was hearing Huang, I was hearing you, it was making so much of sense. I didn't have to do any preparation. It just came out spontaneously. And yes, when you were mentioning about Rehan Bhai, and yes, his smile, Dr. Michelle must be also aware of it. His smile, I think it is his smile which wins over. And it's because of him that I got the courage to come online like this. And thank you so much to Carla, because she has encouraged me a lot. I'm still a little baby in front of her and in front of all of you. I'm sure I'm going to learn a lot because I've never been so active on the social media. Like this, I love to click pics of mine, but never so active on the social media. So that courage to come forward and connect with people, right across, going beyond my own country, is something which I think is very much in sync with what we are discussing today. Let's connect. Let's connect with love. That's it.
that's what this whole thing is about. And to be honest with you, Shivali, I come up with topics, but I never know where they're going until the show happens. Just like when I interviewed you, I had no idea where it was going, but it went where it needed to go. So do I know where it's going, what we're going to talk about? Never. Until it happens. You just let it flow. And with that, we are going to end the show. We are already over time. I am so happy we did this today. And Bodhi, you need to be quiet for. He has a lot to say right now.
He's saying thank you to all of us.
You're saying goodbye.
Hope he's
And goodbye. He needs his mommy.
Need mommy, yeah.
He wants mommy for sure.
Wants you.
But anyway, we will be back Tuesday. I am not sure who will be here yet, but I'll figure it out. And we will be talking more about university as the basis of all the diversity in the world. Please feel free to subscribe to our YouTube channel, GiggleFest University, and you can see more of MindPlore on there because everything is uploaded. Or if you want to just learn to speak English and want to hear English, great place to go. With that, can we wave goodbye to everyone?
Bye-bye.
You girls don't leave yet. Goodbye, and we'll be back on Thursday.